Hey, Wasabi Gangsters. So you'll notice a few different things, aka the background isn't what it was the previous videos. And I don't have my lightsaber tripod. Instead, I have a sci-pod, a singular pod. I don't know. Don't Google sci-pod. I don't know what that is. But I have the Empire Silence hardcover here. If you guys don't know, the hardcover is back in stock on Amazon, which is awesome. And with the success of that book selling, the others will be printed hard copy, which is what we want. Now, I'm here to deliver what I said I was going to deliver, which was a read of the prologue. Now, there were some adjustments I made to the prologue, and let it be known that there are still going to be adjustments made. This is pre-delivery to an editor. This is a very raw polish of my story. It introduces the concept. Today, I'm just going to be, first of all, we start with the before, right? I'm going to deliver this. There might be some adjustments made as I speak because I catch a mistake. And as of right now, I'm only going to deliver the part one of the prologue, and it's a 3-part prologue to introduce you to the book, and it's called The Before, which takes place before the main aspects of the story, giving proper context and theme, which is the goal here. So without further ado, this is Chance Dillon delivering, I'm not going to say the name of the book yet because that is also subject to change. I think the name of the series isn't subject to change, but the name of the first book is absolutely subject to change. So I'm going to keep all of it a secret just for now. And here we go. Pain was the answer, never the question. Fear, that smelled better on enemies. It could be the dampness in the air, the sight of a leaf breaking from a tree branch as the horde approached, or the warmth of blood leaking from a fresh cut. Fear could be all of those things, all at once. It could be a sound or a muscle twinging in the face, but one thing it always preceded was either the demise or rise of whoever it was facing, which drove that fear. Harglon hated smelling it on himself. He hated the ocean breeze and the sound of the waves outside, the scent of iron chafing his skin and the sweat clashing with his blood as it dripped to the stone floor. Footsteps began to echo down the hall, causing him to stir. He couldn't move much, for he wasn't strong enough. Pain was something he learned to love as a growing Blaunine, but fear he was not akin to. Once Alavis ripped Harglon's runestones from his skin, that changed. It was his fault Harglon now suffered. It was Alavis's fault. The warm blood dripped into his palms as his wrists boiled from the irons. The sun was beating down from past the crooked bars. The chill in his spine belied the warm breeze. Mercy, he begged from within. It was all he wanted at that moment. He had proved himself before, and 2 weeks into torture he suffered still. Harglon was all too familiar with the agony. A good Blaunine wasn't worth a damn without being able to use that pain. But now, his eyes visited the shallow drying holes in his torso and forearm where his runes used to embed. Empty. Everything felt empty. There was no power, only pain. The footsteps that echoed off of the stone walls grew closer. The hair over Harglon's face dragged with his eyes as his head rose, rattling the chains once more. His red-tinted skin burned, a deep fire raging within. His heart started to beat fast as the steps grew closer. He felt drops of blood pulsating from open wounds about his chest. If only he had his runestones. If only he had his strength. Harglon, the voice said. Still in a bit of a daze, Harglon couldn't make out who was speaking, but the chains rattled nonetheless. His head rising as his vision was still blurred. He saw the shadowy silhouette standing over him. You can still serve. Mercy. We gave you everything, Harglon said. Why betray us? He labored for breath. We aren't betraying you, the voice snapped. For some reason, Harglon's eyes weren't adjusting well in the shifting light. He listened for a moment, hearing the sound of seagulls in the distance. We are saving you. We will make you whole again, that I promise. You just need to hunt, but for us instead of for your order's own greed. The figure's hand waved in the air, disavowing the order of blood knights Harglon had served with. Where the other 8 were, he had begun to wonder less and less as the weeks waned on. The irons rattled more as Harglon's neck muscles gave out. Dipping his chin back into his chest, he swallowed, tasting the dryness of his mouth. Those that came before sacrificed themselves to save us from the blight, and what they left behind was of great value. You know. Of what I speak, the voice said, hesitating. The figure began to pace, placing their hands behind their back. You will train warriors to help you hunt down these artifacts, and you will be redeemed by the world you turned away from. He fought against the weight of his head again, his black strands of hair stinging his eyes, sweat dripping over his face onto the stone floor as the dried blood from the open wounds began to crack. The man before him shifted into focus. His eyes widened, thinking, how can I say no? Harglon took in a deep breath and moved his hands in the iron shackles. Blood continued to pool at his knees. The touch almost a relief of the constant kneeling. His bare chest was warm, but the air began to cool. The chains rattled with the movement of his head. Yes, he nodded. He knew what the man was asking. Yes, he said, bowing his head in relief. Give me a force and I will get you the tears. He felt the smile from outside his cage burning into him as so much pain had before. Perhaps this was an opportunity to keep the world safe. He didn't know, but he wished to receive warmth from something other than his blood, which continued to drip. 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 And it's done. Part 2 is here, you see, if you guys, that comes into focus. I am happy to go into part 2 of the before. Just let me know what you guys think, whoever comes across this. And currently, as an update also to book 2, I had finished the 5th polish of book 1. I'm letting it simmer a little bit. It is going out to agents in querying. There are still some things I find and that I know, like I have to go back and put a little thing here, put a little thing there. There's 1 or 2 chapters where I'm like, it works, but you know, that professional guidance that an editor can give me, you know, in the instance that I do go self-published, if this querying, you know, I have a pretty hard deadline for myself that I'll share, you know, what's the harm in sharing? December 1st is my hard deadline to get my word count for book 2 done. And by that time, if I haven't been picked up by an agent, I'm going to start, I have an editor in mind. I'm going to start finding an editor to work with, and hopefully that process, I'm you know, the timeline there I'm hoping is about 6 months to really make it perfect. And then, you know, whatever notes they have, I'm going to go through in that timeline while also working on the revisions of the second book myself for my own polishes. And then once that gets through and I'm working with this editor, then it's going to be pushing it to a copy editor and then a few people that I know to read my book before and then obviously, of course, cover, which I'm currently working with my sister on a December 1st deadline to come up with some art concepts that we can both agree on. But yeah, I'm about 30,000 words into book 2. Currently, I'm writing a scene I'm very excited about. And if you guys would like to hear more of the prologue, that is the before. I don't call it the prologue. I mean, it is functionally a prologue, but it is called the before. And it is exciting. It's what the goal is, what hooks you into the book, you know? And part 2 of the before, I am happy to share. Just let me know your guys' thoughts. If you'd like me to share, just comment below, and perhaps the next video I share part 2 of the before. And again, keep in mind, in reading this, I'm sure there are going to be some changes that an editor makes. Maybe the whole fucking before gets cut, you know? And it's something that can be put into another project. Who knows? Keeping my mind open right now. I worked on a Dear Reader today that I plan on putting in the first book, especially, you know, you're a debut author writing a book over 200,000 words. You kind of need the trust of the people that you are presenting to. So without delaying any longer, thank you guys so much for watching this and tuning in to part 1 of the before. Let me know what you think. If it sucks, please feel free to let me know. I'm a Northeasterner, and if something sucks, I like hearing that it's not very good so I can improve it. That's my goal. Also, if you think it sucks and you're the only person that think it sucks, I may not agree with you. But also, you know, if overwhelmingly, a number overwhelmingly agree, then it probably sucks, right? Anyways, thank you guys for listening and watching. I'll see you next time.
Chance out.